And hello everyone, my name is David. I am a student pilot and tonight I am going to do my P3 Part 1 check ride in a Cessna 172 and we are here at 7 Whiskey 4 and we will be going to X-Ray Sierra Alpha um, in this first part of the leg of my check ride. So everything is out in the open. Any mistakes I do, everything that goes through, you'll be able to see it. So at this time, we're going to start. We are hot. I am on XPilot or VATSTAR. I'm doing this. So on the weather, since it doesn't look like we have any ATIS coming out of here, the ATIS in real world is IFR, but we are clear right now, so it's using the altimeter 29062. But since we're not using real weather today, we are going to stay at let me clear that out again. And then we have our traffic. We're at the far end, and then since the wind is not going to be a factor, we're going to be taking off of that. So let's just start with our airplane inside first. Sorry that. And denoting everything they have. Okay, so before taxi, we have our transponder set on standby. The ATIS information we received over the either you could have called in, do a weather brief, or if this airport, which it doesn't have the ATIS up right now. So, but we used our ForeFlight, and we set our pressure here, altimeter, flight levels, instruments are set in regarding to that. So we are going to use PCT. I'm not familiar with that. Not familiar with it, but I am going to, upon departure, going to use what's on here for VATSTAR. We are going to be leaving at 26. Set on here, and the plane was already hot, so I already had all the lights just on. Okay, so our that said, everything's still in the green. We need to do our flight plan, so we are VFR, and we are doing.
Thanks very much for that. You can contact ground point 9 and hope you have a great day.
Why is it?
Here 6 Echo Alpha, so you didn't hear the base just reported at 600.
Oh man, I hope this doesn't
Yeah,
crash.
we've been in and out, not something we're too worried about for 6 Echo Alpha. Thanks. 6 Echo Alpha, no worries. And the wind 120 at 9er, runway 1 right, clear lane. 1 right, clear lane, 6 Echo Alpha. And just out of curiosity, how long you guys going to be on? Probably another hour, hour and a half probably. Yeah, after that, we'll see if we can do a quick turnaround. Alright.
And we have an issue with XPilot. do it again. 7. And it's 41 is around. Let me see first what's on here. 2000. So what we're doing here now, we're doing our flight plan. Let me take this information out of here. We are going to do flight following on, and what we're looking at is to make sure that there's the higher elevations upon our departure out of 7 Whiskey 4. And as we can see on our 4 flight, or if we're using Sky Vector, the terrain is 1200 on there, so I'm comfortable of actually I'm comfortable staying at 3000 VFR because we will still be above 1000 clear of any obstacles or anything on our flight towards X-Ray Sierra Alpha. There's nothing stipulating on 4 flight on there that any obstacles are higher than 1200 feet of terrain. So we have 3000. You can go east or west, 1 VFR, slant golf, and flight following. And we are going to wait 30 seconds to ensure that they receive it. Just double check because that's Maryland. And the plane's on there. So you know what, frequencies. All right. All right, before text we have that, and we're going to start our taxi now. We're really close to runway 26. We're going to just depart. So what we're going to do here is on a regular, if we were flying out, we would ensure a passenger safety briefing, ensure that they understood the doors, how to get out, seatbelts are on, fire extinguisher is at between us in case of emergency, and our departure briefing is going to be, we're going to be flying out of runway 26 and then make a left cross traffic at 3,000 feet. If upon departure and we're still on the runway, we have an engine failure, we will bring it down to the ground and keep it on the runway as much as possible. If we're already above the runway and we have an engine failure, anything below 1,000 feet, 30 degrees to the left or to the right, we try to land it someplace to avoid any other injuries to any other people or residents or anything else. Anything above 1,000, we're going to try to circle back around to land at the airport at 26 or anything close to that. Any questions? All right.
If you're asking me, no.
Okay, no. So I'm just going through my normal, like I usually do, sorry. So, little taxi, brake check. And brake check is good. And for the purpose of this check ride and in the time, we would do a magneto check, check left and right, ensure everything, the radios are already set. We already did the passenger briefing, and the only thing we have to do here is just ensure that our nav lanes and we're set to go. And the next thing we only have to do, since we're so close to the runway right here, as you can see, there's, I guess this is the FBO. We'll be set to go here. All right. And good evening, Lake Anana traffic, Skyhawk, November 7 Delta Romeo is holding short of runway 26 for a straight out departure and then left crosswind traffic to the east, Lake Anana traffic. So, I hope I didn't butcher that name. Just double check. Oh, everything looks good. Left, traffic. Lake Anna traffic, Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo is taking 26, the active for Lake Anna.
Enter runway 26, 2,500 feet remaining.
Okay, we're set. Here, 2-4 on here. I'm a little off to the side. Actually, just leave it like that. All right, we're ready to go. On here, 10 degrees of flaps. Power being set. And here roll. Full power. And let me take this off here because I can't see.
Caution, on taxiway, on taxiway.
Airspeed is alive. Everything's still in the green, 500. And about 400 feet. Lake Anna traffic, Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo, left crosswind, Lake Anna traffic. Everything's still looking good. Everything is still in the green. Fuel flow is up. And we'll keep on climbing. Lake Anna traffic, Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo is departing to the east. Lake Anna traffic, good day. And good evening, approach Skyhawk November 7 Delta Romeo. Did I miss something up here? Oh, my radio comms went down again. Well, this is why we practice. Our radios went down.
Something happened to your X-Pilot over there?
Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, my X-Pilot just crashed, so I was trying to do my radio call, and I could see it over here as a black screen. I don't understand. I had no issues yesterday with her. Level at 3,000. Power back here. Let me just trim her out a little bit, and then I'll try to restart it. I just don't want it to boot me off my my flight. All right, I'm going to see why it's not letting me go back over here. Oh, it's still on there. So while I try to get this back started, we are doing a visual. So if you
United 236 Summit approach, hello. You descend to the Cavalier 3 arrival. You can expect the ILS approach runway 19er left. The Dulles altimeter 29er 64. Alright, we'll continue descent via Caliber 3. Expect 29 left. 29er 64 on the altimeter. And United 236 will be 19er left, and information November is current. 19er left, we'll get information November on the east.
hopefully it goes on back here. And good evening, approach Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo.
Skyhawk 7, Delta Romeo, Potomac approach, hello, squawk 2145.
2145 for 7 Delta Romeo. Okay, hopefully I don't crash again trying to get this. And I don't know.
7 Delta Romeo, radar contact 20 miles northeast of Flat Rock at 3000. The Richmond altimeter 29er 67. Say request.
Position checks for 7 Delta Romeo. Request flight following to X-Ray Sierra Alpha 3000.
November 7 Delta Romeo, roger. Maintain VFR.
Maintaining VFR 7 Delta Romeo. So when we're doing this flight on this first leg, we are actually doing, I don't want to, I know this is in the way, but every time I try to turn it off, it it locks me out. But we are following, there's a railroad that you can use that runs almost like a east and west, but almost like a southeasterly direction that you can follow in regarding to that. So using visual checkpoints that you have if you're familiar with that. And I dropped too much there. Even though we are at VFR, we can go below 3,000 or flying in there. I like to maintain 3,000 feet here. I don't know why it's doing that. It's pulsating all up and down when I let it go. Come on. Alright, we're still good in the green here. We're at cruise. We're on there. One thumb. And roughly around 7 gallons as we advised. Still looking good. And this is the river. Staying one step ahead. 25. I can. Let's hope that doesn't.
Yeah, still approach King 606 Echo Alpha, IFR back to Philly as well. Number 606 Echo Alpha, Summit Guide, on request standby.
Doing good. 3,000. Everything's still good. Visual point here. So we have to stay one step ahead. It looks like that X-ray CL Alpha, depending if approach says anything or hands us off, there's no one in the tower. So we're going to use Unicom there at 122.8. Just have it in there just in case when he says frequency change approve, or if he does give us anything else, then we'll put those in our comms. But always have to stay ahead of the ball game here.
King Air 606 Echo Alpha, clearance available, advise ready. Ready, Captain, Echo Alpha. Number 606 Echo Alpha is cleared to the Philadelphia Airport via the Capital One departure. Radar vectors Westminster, that's Echo Mike India. Direct Modena, Mike X-ray Echo direct. Maintain 3,000. Expect 13,010 minutes after departure. Departure this frequency, squawk 2164. Roger, clear to the Philadelphia Airport via the Capital One departure, Westminster transition, MXEN, then direct, clear 3,000, expecting 13010 departure.
So since I don't have the ATIS there and looking on ForeFlight, it's still IFR and we're not using real weather because I have instrument rated. So our weather's going to be denoted as the same as we took off from um, our other airports, 7 Whiskey 4. Looking at this, I'm anticipating a straight-in approach into runway 10 if we're doing winds are calm and everything else. But if not, that's my intentions. If not, we would do come in for a right track for 2.8, just depending on the controller here. But we will find out. Yesterday we had a total different. We were expecting a right base into a runway, and we were given a straight-in approach. So it just all depends. But we have to be a step of the game here and make sure that our comms are good. We know where we're at. We're probably around 20 miles away from this airport, from X-Ray Sierra Alpha. And let me just check something else out here. It's starting to bring it back down again every time I try to move something. No, shoot, every time I try to use that, it actually cuts me off. And I don't want to do it. Hopefully it didn't do it. Yes, it did. Darn it. I got logged out again. Close program, close program. Hopefully the tower doesn't call me, or approach doesn't call me. Connect, connect. I'm leaving that alone. Just leave it alone. Okay, we're still.
606 Echo Alpha. You can contact.
We're still looking good. Everything is still in the green.
Contact tower 1201 for taxi to Echo Alpha.
And we're right around 14 miles from the airport. And we had our cruise power set as we wanted to upon and descent. Make sure while we start to descend, we will do our power. Make sure our mixture is rich. Altimeter, we got that, but we'll get it again when he hands us off. There's no autopilot, and we are still on both. So let me get back that up there. And when we land here, we're going to go to the terminal on the left hand side. So we'll probably take, and there's only one taxiway, so we'll make sure we hit that so we can go into the GA on the left hand side, which will be on the north side of the road, north side of the airport.
Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo, the Essex County altimeter
29er66 for 7 Delta Romeo. And as I said before, he was going to give us our altimeter. And I think he's using, let me just use this also to make sure, because it looked like my, come on. I did it on G. I was trying to get it on here too to see if it can.
Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo, the Essex County Airport, 12 o'clock and 12 miles.
7 Delta Romeo looking for the airport. All right, 12 o'clock. Okay, airport in sight. All right, so let's just power back a little bit. And Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo has the airport in sight.
Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo, roger, radar service terminated, frequency change to advisory airport, squawk and maintain VFR.
Squawking VFR, 7 Delta Romeo, have a good evening.
You too, Talk. Are you planning on coming back out?
Yes, sir, I'm going to go back out, and I didn't put it on the flight plan. I failed to do that. I'm doing the P3 check ride.
No worries. Just contact me airborne and it'll be this frequency for the way out.
All right, I'll contact you on this frequency. You want me to do it also for taxi and everything else?
No, sir, you can do that on advisory.
All right, just making sure. Thank you, sir. Switching over. All right, so we're going to switch over. And he said squawk VFR. So we're going to squawk VFR. Report. And there we are. So the airport is 2 miles. Started descending a little bit. Under 110. Slowly start bringing her in so no one's ears are popping and we have no passengers feeling sick. Oh, I lost it. Where did she go? Nothing like real world, right? And to run traffic, Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo, it is approximately 8 miles to the west inbound for runway 10 to Bonic traffic. And I messed up that name again. Up to almost a 6 mile. Everything is good. Descent. We had our wings, flaps. Before landing, passenger briefing. Ensure that all the seatbelts are good. The doors, fuel selector is on both, and landing lights are on. Autopilot is off. Pattern altitude is 1100. Usually everything is always left-hand traffic. And Toponic traffic, Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo is going to be entering a left downwind for runway 26. Toponic traffic. Weather is briefed. And we're entering into downwind at pattern altitude. Nice smooth transition down into our level of altitude. And let's just stay at 1,000. And Toponic traffic, Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo on the downwind from runway 28, Toponic traffic. Oh, wrong button. And the winds were calm, so I wanted to land, and I mean we could have landed straight in because sometimes they do it, but I didn't want to try to ride the brakes, and I wanted to come in and see more of the safety precautions in regarding to us flying in here. I've never flown into this airport, so it gives me a little bit longer runway for me to go instead of me trying to hit the brakes to make a back taxi in here. So we are beam the numbers, the flaps. Sure, we're good. 4. And proceed down. And Toponic traffic left base for runway 28. Toponic traffic. That's nice flaps. Balloon up a little bit. Keep your speed up. A little high, but we can adjust.
Too high, too high.
We can adjust.
Unstable, unstable.
Keep it steady. We have plenty of runway. Plenty of runway on. Keep it going. Everything's still in the green. You've made the runway. Power back. And excellent. And we still had 3,000 feet of runway left. And we should have a turn here to the right. And let's just cross over here. And we are fully across. And Topahonic traffic. Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo is clear of the active 28 overnight traffic. So we clean everything up, ensure that everything is good. That's on that. Nav, landing.
Cool. Good leg. So now you can go ahead and you can just taxi to wherever is convenient for you to hold short of the runway. There's not going to be any traffic in here.
Okay.
And you can get yourself set up for the next leg and get everything set up, and then feel free to depart.
Okay. So you just want me to go right just back onto the runway and...
Yeah, just hold short of it, and just because
Okay.
I know you're going to need to do a back taxi if you want to use to it again. So just pull up to it, hold short of it, and whenever you're ready, take the runway and go.
Okay, no problem. Let me get everything situated here. All right, so we are here. Now we're going to be leaving out of semi alpha. Let me just do something here. Move. And we are going to Richmond, and I know we're not using we are doing VOR into this, so but on here then I am going to use if no one has ever used this, I am new to Sky Vector and I'm going to try this. It's a great tool that I was shown yesterday on my P3 practice ride. I'm always using ForeFlight, so we're roughly around 130. And 3, we did 23. We got 49. I can't do the 5 over here. It's not like the other ones. And it's 0140 Zulu. And the good thing about this is you have all the information on here. We're not using real world weather, so we're doing clear skies and everything, but if you had to, you can use it right here. On here for 8 knots out of the airport that we're coming out of, which I've butchered this name, so anyone that lives in this area, I do apologize. And then we're coming over here, and again, we're not using the real world weather, but we can see the 110 at 9 and is IFR out of here, half mile, as you can see on your on here. So we are going to use the VOR, Richmond's VOR 114.1. So let's go back here, activate this 114.1. So we're going to use that VOR, and we're going to use the same weather. We already know we're going to use the same approach here as soon as we depart. And what we have to do, oh Lord, all night long having problems with this flight plan. As soon as it comes up here, close the program, close the program. Open it back up, connect, flight plan, and Kilo X-ray Sierra Alpha, Kilo Romeo Charlie, and 140, give just enough time, and that is hmm, 5 cruise, and now we are heading back to the southwest. So we are VFR, and we are getting flight following, but we're going to go up to 4,500 today on the way back. And I gotta put the Richmond RIC, that's what we're following. So ensure that everything is on here, everything is correct. Enough time to go through slant golf. Even though you're filing this flight plan for ATC, we're going to still have to give this information out after we depart. So at this time, we are going to be departing again, and since the winds are calm and everything, I'm not going to back taxi. I'm not going to back taxi. I'm going to take an intersection departure. We have 4,300 feet, and when I landed, we did really good. So I am going to depart to the east, and then make right cross-wind traffic, depart, and then head out towards the southwest. And then looking at what we have, my altitude is good. There's nothing in the vicinity towards Richmond International that is any height on that. So and then depending on Richmond, what we have, we'll set up everything for our arrival as soon as we depart on there. So alright, so pre-departure, make sure our seatbelts and everything were good, and we are on ground here. Let's just report now on there. Ensure that our lights are on. We're still doing good on fuel. And flaps. There, throttles full mix, and briefing was made in regarding to our departure out of the airport, and there was no question. Same thing for departure. If we have an engine out or anything that we have to deal with, we will keep it on the runway. Anything below 1,000, 30 degrees left or right, and try to land safely. Anything above 1,000, we will circle back out and bring her back into the airport, preferably the runway or the grass area. Seatbelts are as designed, and exits are to the east and west here, or to the left to the right, and the fire extinguisher is in the middle. No questions. We're ready for departure. We're going to do a departure here out of there, so we're good. And Tappahannock traffic, Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo. It will be departing to the east, doing a intersection departure to behind the traffic. And on my map, I do not have, and it doesn't say.
Approaching 10. On runway 10, 2,900 feet remaining.
All right, we are set there. Just make sure I have that on there. And we are good to go here. Power, full power. Airspeed's alive.
Caution, short runway, short runway.
And 55. And let's just get her climbing here. All right, 500. Toronto traffic, Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo, right crosswind. Toronto traffic. Let's just keep climbing. And Tobago traffic, Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo is departing to the south. Good evening.
Center maintain 2,500.
Let's keep on climbing. And let's keep on climbing and track. VOR here. And approach, good evening, Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo.
Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo, Potomac.
Just leaving out of Potomac, 1,500, climbing to 4.5. I have the weather, VFR flight following to Romeo India Charlie, please.
Number 7 Delta Romeo, squawk 2140.
2140 for 7 Delta Romeo. I need to put that.
134, turn right heading 280. Right to 280, Delta 134.
Keep it right there.
Number 7 Delta Romeo, radar contact 25 northeast of Richmond at 2,000 and maintain VFR.
And confirm the altimeter.
And November 7 Delta Romeo, the Richmond altimeter
2962 for 7 Delta Romeo. Alright, so I don't want to be chasing this.
The 134 is 3 miles from Catherine, turn right heading 340, maintain 2,500 until established on the localizer. Cleared ILS runway 1 approach.
Come on.
134.
See what happened there, ladies and gentlemen? It knocked me out. Okay.
November 7th, Delta Romeo. The wind at Richmond right now, 110 at Niner. I can offer you runway 16, or if you'd like a shorter taxi, I can offer you runway 20.
20 will be fine for 7 Delta Romeo. Oh, hopefully I didn't go down again. Oh, it did. Darn it.
Delta 134.
Oh, Lord. Could be real life. This is what can happen. Your radio comms go bad. You're trying to do everything. You're doing a climb, and you lose it. So let's just keep focus on climbing here. And I'm not in approach 7 Delta Romeo. I'm back with you. I lost my comms.
November 7th, Delta Romeo, roger.
And I'd like to do an amendment on my. I'm going to stay at 3,000 instead of 4,500 as I filed.
November 7th, Delta Romeo, roger, I'll show that.
So we're just going to say I'm just having so much of a problem with these comms today. I just don't want to keep on flying up. Keep it 3,000. We're going to be coming into. Let's just set.
November 7th, Delta Romeo. The wind at Richmond, 110 at Niner. I can offer you either runway 16 or runway 20 if you'd like a little shorter taxi.
We'll go for 20 for 7 Delta Romeo.
7 Delta Romeo, roger. Proceed direct to the Richmond Airport, and you can enter a left base for runway 20, report turning final.
Left base for 20 straight in for Richmond for 7 Delta Romeo. Okay, I know I'm following the VOR and it's going through here. We're doing good. And we're slowly climbing.
I'm sorry, I missed the end of that. Say that again.
He told me to go directly straight into Richmond and make a left base into 20, but I know I'm doing a VOR. I was talking to myself at the same time.
Well, once you have the airport in sight, you can do it.
Okay. This has been some check ride. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, we'll talk about what that means at the end of it. But for this, once you have the airport, then you can maneuver for what he told you to do.
Okay, no problem. Okay, we are in cruise, power set, elevator trim. Elevators, lights required. We're still looking good. Moving ahead. We're going to RIC. Oh, I'm scared to touch this. We should. We're going to do 20, so on there right now. Sorry. So looking at the weather, it's still IFR as we reported in our full briefing since we've been doing our legs. So we are expecting runway 20 left base into Richmond, and that's what we're going to get. Just bring it down just a little bit.
What's on the
use that VOR slight corrections. It was just too much to the right. Alright, so what are we doing now? We're just not sitting here talking. We're looking ahead to check. We were checking weather. Weather is brief. We're using not real worlds. We're just using column left base into 2-0. VOR is set, and ground is 121.9 and tower is 121.1. Unless he gives us something totally different, let's get prepped. 121.1. Enter, and then we'll enter ground later. So when we land at 2-0, let's see what we have here. We have Richmond Jet Center, so if we don't make the first one, well, not the first one, but if we don't make Bravo, we make Charlie, and expect Charlie to Alpha, Alpha to Romeo, one of those over to Richmond Jet Center, unless there's something right ahead, and we can just pull over in Charlie to straight into, it looks like another FBO, but that's what we expect, straight into one of those FBOs. We have an FPO in the beginning and then have Millionaire at the end, so not familiar.
At 49 heavy, descend and maintain 4,000.
Slight corrections. See right there. And the closer we're getting, the more sensitive it's going to be. And we are right 9 miles from the airport. See if I can see it. I believe that's it. Oh, there she is. Oh, I lost it. I hate that. Just make sure. 4. And airport is in sight. And roughly 8 miles out. Do a modified lift base into here. Still looking good. Descent checklist, we'll have the power, and we'll start doing mixture. That's why the ATIS was ready. We receive as brief. Altimeter was set. No autopilot. And fuel selector is still on both. And we're good. Seatbelts are on. And approach Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo has the airport in sight. Oh, did I lose my freaking comms again? Oh, Lord. ATC is going to kill me again. Well, at least you know what it feels. That is how to lose your radios all the time. Connect. And hopefully he hasn't been calling me. That's why it sounds so dead. And approach Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo.
Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I've been having problems with my comms. I just came back on. I have airport in sight, roughly 7 miles to the east.
Number 7 Delta Romeo, make straight in, runway 20. The wind, let's see, 110 at 9er, runway 20, clear line.
Straight in for 20 for Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo, clear to land. Alright, so as we can see, it's just to the left. It's almost like a modified left base here, but we're going to descend.
United 49 heavy, descend and maintain 2,500.
United 249 heavy, descend and maintain 2,500.
Okay, on the 110, balloon up a little bit. Everything's still in the green. Looking good. Flap, balloon up a little bit. And landing gear is fixed. Everything's still in the green. Speed, airspeed is good for.
It's so much a pleasure making 4515 with you over Baltimore.
American 4515, Potomac approach, hello. You can expect the ILS runway 1 approach. Washington altimeter 2964, descend and maintain 6,000.
And we're at 70, 68 as we're supposed to.
Down to 6,000 American 25 or 4515.
United 49 heavy, turn right heading 280.
Approaching 20.
Still looking good. Airspeed's still good.
Potomac departure, hello. Clearance on request.
Pacific approach, Delta 7642 would be now descending out flight level 200 via the CAPS for your arrival.
United 49 heavy is 8 miles from Katrin, turn right heading 340. Descend and maintain 2,500 till established on the localizer.
And
Cleared
we're
ILS
still
runway
good.
1 approach.
Everything's still in the green. Airspeed's still good. And that looks like the terminal, so we'll probably just go all the way down to Millionaire if it lets us go.
42 Potomac approach, hello. You can expect the ILS runway 1, the Washington altimeter 2964.
No one's behind us, so.
Watching now. Okay, it's back out, lesson 1.
Alright, airport's made over the numbers.
642 after Hoyas, descend and maintain 2,500.
Put on there. And set her down really good. Power's off. Nice.
Delta 7642, that's easier for you to cross Katrin.
See if we can keep the speed up a little bit here.
5,000 feet remaining.
I'm making 2,500.
Might tell me to get off.
4,000 remaining.
And approach Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo is cleared all the way down to the end to Millionaire.
Skyhawk 7 Delta Romeo, any right turn when able, and taxi to the ramp via Alpha with me. Thanks for flying.
Alright, right turn when able via Alpha, and thank you so much. Have a great night.
Air Force 1, runway 19 left.
Air Force 1. Huh. Alright, let's just clean this up here a little bit. On here. On there. Lights. Nav. Landing. Strobe. this is Echo in front of us.
And Air Force One is cleared to the Palm Beach Airport via the Morningside 1 departure. Direct radar vectors JW, and then it's filed. Maintain a flight level 210. Expect flight level
And
3.
we are on Alpha with him.
Departure of this frequency is
And Millionaire is at the end. So, that was very interesting. A lot of comm radio failures, a lot of things to look at. Did I make mistakes? Yes, I did. Made several mistakes trying to fix the radio, and I was losing my altitude at some times because I was trying to pay attention to that, but that can happen in real life. So we have to ensure that we're paying attention.
United 49 heavy contact Washington Tower 119.1. Have a good day. American 4515, descend and maintain 4,000.
Down to 4,000, making full set.
All right. How much fuel do you say you're going to land with?
We landed with 20 gallons or 10 gallons worth. No.
How much is that in minutes? About?
Reducing speed now, Delta 7642.
I can't remember, Shane, the formula right now.
You cut out if you say it. So we
No,
have about 10. What's that?
We have 10 gallons worth of fuel, and I can't remember right now off my head. I didn't have my.
That's okay. How much is that in minutes? About how much is 10 gallons in minutes?
Well, we have 10 gallons. You can do almost 60 minutes.
Yeah, about an hour, right?
Yep, about an hour.
And what's our minimum fuel we needed to land?
30.
Very good. So we are perfectly within limits. All right. So let's talk about a couple things. I won't keep you holding. That's a pass for the part one. So let's talk about a couple things. First thing is that coming into Richmond. So he tells you to enter left base runway 20. Unless he gives you a specific distance, you can do that at any point. So keep your track going all the way until you feel comfortable entering the right base. Doesn't have to be on a 9-mile final. It could be on a 3-mile final or a 2-mile. Okay. So until you're ready to join the base, just keep flying to Richmond. Keep flying direct. Don't have to enter the runway center line until you're. If he specifically asks you to turn base now and enter the runway center line, then do it. Okay. But typically, they don't care that much. They'd prefer you not be on the runway center line because then they can pass faster aircraft off to your side. I've had that happen to me in real world at Gainesville Airport. I was coming in to land, and there was a couple of regional jets coming in. They're like, slow down. We're like, okay. And we went to slow flight, and we were doing like 50 knots over the ground on approach. It was,
oh, wow.
But basically, they would prefer you left of center line in that case because if there's a jet coming in, they'll just buzz right by, and you can join right behind them. So yeah, I just keep on trucking, keep following your line until you would normally join base. Is my advice, unless they tell you to do something else. If they tell you to do something else, then obviously listen. So yeah, it was pretty good. Your approach into XSA was good. The one thing is you decided to go for the other runway just because you didn't want to back taxi. That's fine. I would have taken the straight in because I'm lazy. I would have taken the straight in and just exited on the loop and held short at the loop. But what you did was fine. Worked out perfectly fine. We got off the ground in plenty of distance. So yeah, not a whole lot of complaints for me. You have any questions?
No, I just unfortunately my comms kept on failing, but like you say, in real world, that could really actually happen to you when you're
flying.
Yeah,
it could.
So I was just a little frustrated. It got me a little frustrated on there, but I'm very happy that that I was able to follow the VOR, and I decided to go from 45 back to 3,000 because I was still having. It's hard to fly with a joystick and try to maneuver with your mouse with your to get the things going on, but I felt very comfortable. Hopefully, um, the same way with you.
All right, so I'll put the paperwork in to pass for the part one. So now what you have to do is schedule your part two. You can do practice rides all you want again. And once you get your part two done, then you'll be P3 certified.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time today, sir.
My pleasure. Does anyone walk you through what part two looks like? Or do you want to
No,
go through it now?
no. I was going to ask you. I don't know if you were busy or not, but how
No,
does
we can talk about it.
Yeah, how does part two?
So part two, let's see if I can remember it correctly off the top of my head. Part two is departure from a controlled field and transition of Bravo. The biggest part about it is you need to plan to go around the Bravo. So you need a fuel plan to either have to avoid it horizontally or to outclimb the Bravo, one of them. So you need enough fuel to plan for that. And your arrival airport's going to be uncontrolled, and you'll be expected to do the full uncontrolled entry into, so fly over the field, enter a big old swinging turn to enter the 45 to the left downwind. You know that whole long entry procedure that no one likes to do. That is what we make you do. The full U.S. overfly the field 1,500 feet, join the left or right downwind, whichever side you're coming from, and land. And as long as you land there, it's a slightly longer flight. I think it's about 100 nautical miles total, maybe a little bit more. Here, I can look real quick. So that is one thing about it, that it makes it a little.
Okay.
It is significantly longer than the other one.
Roger.
But that is about it for that. It's a pretty easy ride. Let me pull it up real quick, and I'll give you everything. So here we go. So P3 Part 2, long VFR, which traverses across Glass Bravo airspace, at least 20 nautical miles outside Bravo airspace. Is the departure, so you need to be at least 20 miles outside of the Bravo boundary. Can be uncontrolled or controlled. VFR across Class Bravo, at least 100 nautical miles en route. And then your arrival has to be non-towered, and that's about it.
All right, perfect. And then, of course, the CFI or the instructor picks where we're going, like you did. Correct? Did I lose you?
No, sorry, no, I just misclicked. So yeah, just like this time, they'll just pick it for you. This time I made it easy on you and just picked 2 airports. Be honest with you, I cheated a little bit. I gave you your stopover as an uncontrolled, but it was supposed to be controlled. I'll admit that in the write-up, but I don't think it made a difference. You flew it just like it was controlled, and so I don't really think there's such a big deal with that. But I will admit to it, and there should be no problem with it, and it'll get processed shortly.
All right, perfect. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for letting me video this P3 check ride, part 1, and I really do appreciate your time.
Yeah. All right, have a good night, David.
You too, sir. Thank you. So here we are. We're disconnected, and for everyone that's watching, I want to thank you for coming aboard and flying with me to do the P3 check ride part 1 through VATSTAR. As you can see, a lot of challenges today. I passed. That's a great thing. Did I have some issues when you guys see it? Yes, with all the distractions and everything, but it's still no excuse. I'm very happy with my accomplishments tonight and going through. Now I'm going to study for the part 2 of the check ride for VATSTAR. And thank again for Shane for his time today for doing the P1. Thanks along regarding to all the mentors and instructors that continue helping out VATSTAR for all the students that are learning how to fly in sim world or real world. Doesn't make a difference. Thank you. They do everything for free, and we should appreciate their time each and every day for those who are teaching us. Again, thank you again for everyone for joining. My name is David. I am a student pilot, and I am welcoming you guys again for VATSTAR. You guys have a good night.